Oh my goodness. Are we live?
Are we live?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, we are. Wait.
Oh, hello. Oh my God. We're live.
I can't see anything yet, so I actually don't know if we're live. Oh,
wait, I don't know.
It's going to be awkward when we are live. Okay, yeah, we are.
I'm just going to close that tab.
Oh yeah, okay. Are we live?
Are we live?
Yeah, so we are. So, welcome everyone to the live stream, and welcome Isha. Everyone, welcome to Isha. She is taking time out of her day. Everyone in the stream is saying hello to you, by the way. Everyone is saying, we see you. Can everyone hear us? That's the main thing. I wanted to know. Okay, people are writing yes. They can hear me. They can hear you, hopefully. Maybe if you say hi.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Oh my God, I'm so excited. This is so exciting.
Okay, this is really exciting. So I guess first off of the bat, can you, or I can introduce you. So everyone, this is Isha. She is studying electrical engineering in the States, but I actually don't know where in the States. Is it in Michigan? In Michigan. And she's studying and she's doing electrical engineering, and she's mostly wants to specialize in hardware systems. That's correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And in the past
year, yep.
Yeah, and in the past year, she's done some automotive engineering. And she is so fresh in school, and she has so much to explore, probably like a lot of you guys. So we're just going to chat about school, life, her goals, her aspirations. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, we're going to take those at the end. I'm hoping that this will be about 45 minutes. Hopefully we don't go too long, if that's okay with you. Yeah. I mean, like, if 45 minutes is too long for you, let me know.
It's fine. I don't care. I have the whole day to this. So
okay, perfect.
That's all I'm doing today.
People are writing that they've been waiting for this video.
Oh my gosh.
So
I've been waiting for this too. I've never done this before.
So you're like a celebrity.
Oh God, no. I am just so excited to meet Jess because wow, like I actually started watching your videos a couple months ago, and I was like, wow, she's so cool.
Oh no.
I never even thought I'd get to talk to you. Oh my God.
No. This is like, the pleasure is all mine. So before we get into this video, I just wanted to tell everyone that this video is sponsored by Dev Mountain, and thank you so much to them because this wouldn't be possible without them. And for the people that don't know, they're a coding boot camp, and they offer free housing to all of their full-time students. And they have 3 locations across the States. And yeah, if you're interested in learning in web development, iOS development, or UX design, go to them. So that's out of the way. And now I wanted to ask you, first things first is, why did you, just such an easy question, why did you decide to study electrical engineering?
So I guess I can start like super early on, like early childhood. This is going to sound really stupid. But
No. Did you hear my Kim Possible story? Did you?
Oh my gosh, wait, no, yeah, I watched that video. No, I had a similar story.
Okay, yeah, I want to hear it.
Yeah. So I started watching, Buzz Lightyear of Star Command at the age of 3. And I was obsessed with the show up until I was like 10 years old.
Okay.
And so I was so set on becoming an astronaut. But I also still kind of wanted to explore other areas in like middle school and high school and stuff. And so I kind of kept my mind open. And then slowly I started ruling all of the other options out because I just hated everything except STEM.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I ended up deciding I wanted to do physics when I left my senior year. And then, I don't know, I just kind of thought about like, it would be cool to work on like robotics or something, or like do something more hands-on, or I don't know, something that's more applicable to stuff. And like, I don't know, I started learning Python too. So I guess, I don't know, I decided to go for engineering. And then electrical engineering, I decided, just based on like talking to professors and stuff, I found the advising office in my school helpful, but then they also told me, like, go talk to professors because they're experts in their fields and they know, like, they've been doing this for like so many years. And so I talked to I think he's the dean of the Masters of Engineering in Automotive Engineering department. And so he gave me all this advice, and like he talked about all this really cool research that he's doing and everything. And so I decided electrical, and then decided to go for a design team, which we can talk about a little bit more later in depth.
Yeah, okay, wait. So just backing up a little. You are watching Buzz Lightyear, and then you are just like, oh, I'm just going to learn some Python on my own? Or...
Yeah. I guess, like, I don't know. I just wanted to learn something over last summer because, I mean, after my senior year, I didn't really have anything to do.
Okay.
So I was like, I'll try to learn coding because coding sounds fun.
Yeah. Okay, so you just went on YouTube, or did you do, like, how did you learn Python?
So I actually used Udacity, and they had like a full course that you could do on there, and so I like learned it from there. Yeah, and then also another key thing that made me decide to go into engineering was I joined a program within my university, and it's like a women in STEM program. And I don't know, we all made like a group chat, and there was like 100 people in that group chat. It was wild. And so once we got into the program, we were all so excited to meet each other, and I was really inspired by like how excited they all were about engineering, and like there were a lot of engineers in that group. So I think that was also another thing.
Okay, cool. So you're watching Buzz Lightyear. You get bored in the summer, you learn Python on your own on this website that we can put in the description later. And then you roll up to the house or the office of the dean of the master's program in automotive engineering. You knock on his door and you just knock on his door and you talk to him, or how did that work?
Well, so that interview part, we actually had, so I was, like I said, I was in a program for women in STEM. And I had to take a class for it, my first and second semester.
Okay.
And so we were required to go, there's an assignment where we had to go and interview a professor. And so when I interviewed him, like, I think that's what cemented it for me.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So that's your sort of, no, yeah, that's a nice
of a story.
Origin story. You can make a comic book out of it.
I know. It's quite a mess, but I got there. So.
Yeah, but that's also how I sort of, like, I always had an idea, you know, I'm good at math, I'm good at physics, but I don't want to do, and then I had a list of things. Like, I had a list of things I didn't want to do, and I sort of narrowed it down like that.
Yeah, I know for me, like, I definitely didn't want to do health or anything, like, anything related to health at all, because, I don't know, I went to a dentist's office once to shadow a dentist, and I hated it. And then I got like 2 stitches in my hand, and that was enough for me to be like, nah.
Yeah, same. I can't look at blood, so I was like, well, I guess I can't be a marine biologist or anything. Yeah. So you've already done your first year of school, and was it everything you expected, or are you just like, because I know for me in my first year, I was really discouraged. I was like, this is not engineering. This is chemistry, which I hate. I'm not a chemical engineer. Yes. I'm not here to study chemistry. Why do you keep making me take these classes? So I was not happy with chemistry. I was not happy with electromagnetism. I was like, this is also a physics class I don't want to take. I said, I'm here for mechanical engineering. Why isn't anyone teaching me mechanical engineering? And I kind of just had to survive first year before I can get into all of the fun topics. But you haven't, I guess, I don't know, have you seen the fun topics yet? Or what is, like, are you discouraged, or are you looking forward to what's to come?
So I'm definitely looking forward to my sophomore year. This is going to sound terrible, but what I think is that it could not have gotten any worse than what it was.
Okay.
I think I've seen, it's not just me. Like I see so many freshmen struggle. And I don't know, it's like they grow, but then they grow because of negative experiences. And that is discouraging But then at the end of the day, you gotta get out of your freshman year and realize like, oh, like, you know, you want to try again, you know, you want to get back up and like, you want to keep going. And so that has been there for me. And I don't know, I'm ready to start my sophomore year, and I think it's gonna be much better.
Okay. Yeah. And so I know in this past year, you said you were on a design team.
Yes.
Okay. So can you talk about sort of your design team experience and if that pushed you towards automotive engineering, or if it has sort of shaped you for a different path, / do you know sort of what you want to do, or are you still exploring?
I definitely think I'm still exploring right now. I thought I was going to go into automotive for a couple of reasons.
Okay.
So firstly, I'm in the greater Detroit area. And so I have lived in the greater Detroit area my whole life.
Okay.
And I've been always surrounded by the auto industry. And like cars in general have just played a really, really big part in like impacting my everyday tasks, like everything. Yeah, and so, and my parents also worked in auto, and so I don't know, I just thought it was inevitable that I would just go into auto and like stay in Detroit, you know, because Detroit is also growing a lot. I definitely think that auto is on the rise right now, but and so yeah, like I you know, went through a design team, and like that was an interesting experience because I mean, there were a lot of engineers in that team who were extremely smart. And so it was very difficult for me to kind of catch up to. I was kind of playing a game of catch up at some point, and like, especially in the beginning, and it was pretty challenging for sure, but I learned a lot. And when I started my internship, so I'm actually interning right now at LG Chem Michigan Inc., and they supply lithium ion batteries and battery packs for, you know, the big three.
Yeah.
And so when I started my internship, like, I was able to grasp a lot of the concepts, and like I felt level with the other engineers that are full time, and so I mean, it helped in that way. I don't know how I'm gonna go about my sophomore year or like how that experience is gonna shape my sophomore year. But I mean, that's for me to find out over the next semester. So
okay, and you know, I would expect that it's really difficult to get an internship after only doing 1 year of engineering. So do you think that because you were part of a design team this last year, it helped you in getting this internship?
I think definitely, yeah. Because, I mean, when you're taking your freshman year courses only include, for the most part, your prerequisite courses, right? You talked about, like, chemistry and physics and all of those classes. Yeah. And so I was really only taking, like, chemistry and calc and all sorts of prerequisite courses. I wasn't really taking any major courses at all. And so all of my experience or all of my background in electrical engineering or in automotive engineering came from my team. And so that is really like the baseline of what of how I was able to get into the internship.
Okay, cool. It's always quite funny doing live interviews, like just an aside, because when I'm doing them for a video, I can cut out all of my ums, and now I'm live, so everyone's going to see that I'm just a fake.
No, you're not. Oh, no.
Okay, so I guess so far, what is like the coolest thing that you've like? So right now you're sort of exploring. So I'm assuming you've sort of seen some new industries, and you've been thinking about a lot of new industries in electrical engineering and hardware systems, perhaps. And what do you think? Maybe you have, or maybe you haven't. But if you have, is there something that really piqued your interest, or something really cool? Or maybe it's not even in hardware systems engineering or electrical engineering, but you're like, that would be something really cool to pivot into, or that's a really cool idea. Maybe I can combine that with electrical engineering in the future. Like, are there any projects that interest you?
Yeah, so as far as like what I've seen, and this is more of an auto experience, I actually got to visit the Ford virtual reality lab. They have a virtual reality lab to like audit cars and stuff, and it's really cool. And so I don't know, I just thought it was interesting that they weren't really testing anything because there's no like actually physical testing or simulation and stuff, but they were, you know, they were looking at the car from like a user experience type of thing, and like I don't know, I just thought it was cool that they were using like a VR headset, and like, you know, you had like an actual car there, and it was like a whole room, and it was a dark room, and there's, you know, I don't know, I just thought that was cool to have graphic designers and artists like working on a virtual reality system where you can like look at the car. But I don't know, I thought it would be cool to have like a VR system that you can look at like electrified vehicles too, because the cars they were looking at were mainly like combustion engine vehicles, ICE vehicles. So I don't know, I think that would be cool. But as far as projects, I'm right now working on a voice controlled lighting system for like my room or something.
Or that's a fun, just a small project. I don't know. Yeah. It seems like it's a lot of work.
It is. Like, I mean, I like bought a couple of parts. I kind of don't know what I'm doing yet.
Okay.
But I'm figuring it out as I go. And like, I have my little folder with like notes and stuff. And I'm taking notes as I go, and I'm doing a little bit of research on how I'm going to do this. But I know for sure that I'm using like an Arduino and then some like string lights or something. Right now I'm starting with like a voice control or a voice module, and you can like use that module on the Arduino or like with the Arduino on a breadboard or something. But I'm thinking about switching to like making like an app or something and doing that, and just, you know, speaking right in my phone instead of having like a whole separate device that I have to purchase and everything. So
cool.
It's still a new project, but I'm starting it soon. I'm starting like to build it soon once the module comes in, because it hasn't come in yet.
Okay. So wait, you're using breadboards? Because I just like, so when I started to do my bachelor's thesis, I remember I had to solder things together, like wires together. Yeah. And I remember being like, so this is the real life version of a breadboard. Okay, people don't actually, like, I don't know, because in our little electronics class, to connect wires together, we were always connecting them via breadboard. And I was always, it's just like the connection between...
So were you like soldering, what were you soldering? Were you soldering on the board? Because that's probably like a...
No. Like I was connecting wires together to create an entire...
It's like the solderless breadboard.
No. But I was like, this is the real life version. Like, because, you know, you see a breadboard in class, and I'm like, there's no way that this thing is used in real life. Is it? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's used, definitely. I mean, people, because right now there's a thing happening at work where they're trying to figure out an air cooling thing, and they're trying to control the speed requests for the fan.
Okay.
So they're using like an Arduino and a breadboard, and like they're using the same stuff. Like it's
okay.
Yeah, it's not uncommon to use this.
Okay, well, soldering was definitely like one of the highlights of my bachelor's thesis, when I just got to melt tons of wires together, and then they all worked and lit stuff on. They didn't light stuff on fire. I mean, they were connected to a heater, which then, caused my stuff to explode, but on purpose. Don't worry.
Okay, good.
That's another story. Christelle asks, are you a graduate student already? No, Christelle. She's like you in her first year. I just wanted to answer that question. Okay, so next question. So, do you think, so other than this like virtual reality field, maybe it's too early in your career / studies, but do you think there's another field of study that you would like to explore? Or do you think that you're going to stick with electrical engineering, at least for the maybe foreseeable future? Because for me, for example, I think, you know, I'm probably going to do my PhD in mechanical, but I have really no problem if I don't like being in industry after that to just completely switch career paths.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm trying to do research this year, and I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but I want to either do research in electrical or I want to do research in aerospace.
Oh,
Which is
okay.
completely different. Is a whole different thing, but I'm thinking about aerospace and like specifically in electric propulsion or in dynamics and control, and that in and of itself is like a huge thing. But
Okay.
so I don't know. I'm still thinking about it, but I have to email professors in the next like 2 weeks. So once that, I think once the first few weeks of school are done, then I'll have some research, and it'll either be in aerospace or in electrical.
Okay, so specifically if we're talking about aerospace, what sort of application would you be working in?
So
or like within the like is this sort of just like, oh, you're going to do something in air, like you just want to be in the industry, or is there a specific part that you would want to work in within, like, I don't know, maybe the rocket or like just control systems, or like I'm not very familiar with electrical engineering, so I can't ask specific questions. But
okay, yeah. So electrical, I was actually talking to my one friend she's now going to like SpaceX and everything, and like she's done with her undergrad. But she was telling me about like all the applications that electrical has in aerospace, and so like CubeSats, for example, have like circuit boards on their CubeSats, on their systems, and then you have like.
And what is CubeSats?
CubeSats are basically, it's like a little cube thing, and then you put it in a satellite, and then it goes to space. I don't really know what it does.
It's a cube. You put it in a satellite. You chuck it up there, and it stays basically a cube, but in space.
Yeah, and you can also do propulsion of the CubeSat too. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Okay, so that's one application.
Yeah, and then control systems is also another application, which that's a very big area too.
Yeah.
Unmanned aerial vehicles would be cool too.
Yeah,
I thought that I think because that's more of like a robotics type of thing, but it's still like aviation and that kind of thing. So yeah, it'll really depend on like which professor I do research with, honestly.
Okay, so are there a lot of professors at your university that, like, are they actively involved in space applications, or are they just like, doing research? Oh, sorry. Or are they just doing research in a specific field that can be applied to aerospace? Or like, do they have a direct link to aerospace? The industry?
Yes, I think, because they're all aerospace professors, so I guess.
Okay, you have like an aerospace degree or at your university, or what do you mean?
Yeah. There is an aerospace engineering degree.
Ah, okay, so, cool.
Yeah, there is an aerospace program. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like a really, really awesome program. So, and the other reason I was thinking about doing research in aerospace is all of the aerospace engineers that I've met are like so smart, and they're so passionate about their work. I don't know, I just kind of want to have that influence. That would be nice,
Yeah. So just to clarify, because I know a lot of people, they get really worried, like they think, oh, can I study aerospace if I'm blah, 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 or can I do biomedical engineering if I study mechanical engineering? And what I always say is that, like, you don't need to have this specific title. Like, you're not stuck in a box just because you have this title. So you're saying right now, like, you are in the electrical engineering program, but you're going to be able to pivot, like, hopefully, into the doing research in the aerospace department. So
sure.
So can you expand on that?
Yeah, part of the reason, like, the title of this video is like Automotive Engineering and Hardware Systems, right?
Yeah.
So hardware systems incorporates not just electrical, but it incorporates software too, and like the mechanical aspect. And really my goal as I go on in my career is to become a really good systems engineer. Because
Okay.
systems integration is extremely important, especially in industry when, you know, like yesterday, for example, there was a guy who's like a hardware person. Like he's only into hardware. He didn't know how to code at all. And so he came and asked me like, can you help me with this code? I don't know how to code. Like I literally just looked up a tutorial to code in C++, and he's like a senior person. So I think it's really important to know, like, to apply mechanical and software and electrical. Oh, sorry.
Oh.
Hold on. I got too excited.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You said it's really important to incorporate electrical, mechanical.
Yeah, I don't know, because I want to have, my education in engineering, I want to take it and, like, apply engineering as, like, a whole thing, not just, like, electrical, or, like, pick one and, like, be narrow and stick with that.
Yeah. So Christelle asks, for you, is electrical engineering and mechanical engineering a good combination? Because I'm thinking of having a double degree with two of the, like, she's thinking of having a double degree. So what do you think about that? Do you think it's necessary? What do you think?
I don't know, because I don't have a lot of mechanical experience. I feel like this is more of a question that you would be able to answer more easily, because I know you did aerospace and mechanical, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't really know, honestly.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I mean, mine was sort of a major and a minor.
Okay.
So it wasn't a double major, but I honestly, I mean, I guess it would sort of be the same thing, because a lot of the classes are going to cross over. Like, you're just going to have a lot more electrical or a lot more of these specific mechanical classes. But I'm assuming if you're taking electrical and mechanical, it's not going to be like you're taking fluid flows and mechanical, and then you're taking robotics and electrical. Like, you're probably going to be taking a lot of the same types of courses. So when I think about it, I think, like, you can pretty much become a roboticist.
So like mechatronics and
yeah, you can become like, you can work with robots with an electrical degree, or you can work with robots with a mechanical degree. So for me, I mean, I don't see the benefit of having a double degree. I think what's more important and what impresses people more is to have, like, an internship like you did, or be part of a design team. Like, at one point, employers don't care about the classes you've done anymore if you don't have any tangible skills. Yeah,
and especially, I think she's going. Are you going in your first year? I don't know if she said.
Christelle says she's in her first year. Yeah.
Okay. So when you're in your first year, you're not going to be taking any, like, major classes. Most likely, you won't be taking any major classes. So all of your experiences outside of that are really gonna, like you said, that's what employers care about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then someone else asked, so Beza, he asks, blah, 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 blah. Okay, he asked the same question twice. So I don't know, maybe we could both answer this question. Which one should we choose in order to be an automotive engineer, mechanical or electrical engineering? So you go first.
Okay, yes. So
I just decided I'm actually not going to answer, because I don't know anything about automotive engineering. So you answer.
Okay. So the thing with automotive engineering is that the next big thing that's happening in auto is electrification, hybridization, and autonomization.
Yeah.
Making cars autonomous, right? And so I think it's really important to become, like, electrical really helped me understand, the powertrain. So, like, how the power system works. And I think that's these kinds of systems are becoming less and less of, like, a mechanical system, and they're becoming more of, like, a software and electrical type of system. And it's really more the focus is now on hardware software integration, because that's really where a lot of the auto companies are facing issues, is when they're integrating their hardware and software.
Yeah. And so to add to your point, so Christelle says, thank you for answering with, like, 4 exclamation points. So to add to your point, I mean, let's just go back. Like, what is automotive engineering, right? It's just like, it's a car, right? Engineering of the car. So if we break down the car, like you said, systems integration, like understanding the entire power system, this is one part of the car. So maybe if that's the part you want to be involved with, you go into electrical engineering.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're really into batteries and you really want, or hydrogen fuel cells, and you really want to be part of the energy sector, then you would be better off going into chemical engineering. Yeah. Like my friend Elizabeth, she's really into cars and she's an electrical engineer and all she wants to do is make batteries. And so if you want to, I guess you could still be an automotive engineer, but technically, I guess you're a chemical engineer. And then the same thing, like if you're into combustion like me, you would be into IC engines, and that you would also be an automotive engineer. You would just be working on the combustion engine. Yeah.
So, and I definitely, I mean, I might have, I don't know, maybe my opinion is a little bit stronger in this area, but I definitely think that innovation in the auto industry is happening more in electrification and like the autonomous side and like the control of the vehicle than it is in like how, like the aerodynamics of the vehicle or like how the chassis is built and everything. That will definitely change, but I think that's following the electrification and autonomy aspects.
Okay, so you're saying if someone is really more into like what was the word you just used? I just lost my train of thought.
Autonomous?
No. You were like the innovation. So if someone really wants to be part of the innovative process,
innovation and research.
Then maybe they're better off going not into like the aerodynamics of the car, but more into
electrical and like controls area.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, like it's the same thing. I mean, not the same thing at all. Another example, like people say they want to be a rocket scientist. There's no innovation in the nozzle of the rocket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you want to be a rocket scientist, like, pick something that's innovative and that needs like somewhere that's innovative, or else you'll just become a rocket plumber, is what my professor always used to say.
What?
Because he would always say like the innovation in rocket engines is just getting the fuel and the oxidizer together faster. Yeah. So for him, that's the most innovative place. So if you want to be a rocket scientist, you should become a rocket plumber. Yeah. Is what he would say. Okay, so I have another question here.
Okay.
Okay, someone's just giving me some information on CubeSats.
Okay.
That's great.
Thank you. Enough about CubeSats.
Yeah,
thank you.
I'll move to my questions. If someone asks another question, then I will answer it. Okay. So far in your first year, what is the biggest challenge you faced? Maybe it wasn't actually in your school. Maybe it was in something outside of school. Maybe it was in your internship. But do you have a challenge that you've had to overcome this year? Yeah.
Yeah. So one big challenge I faced this year was trying to balance, I guess, my passion for engineering with my passion for music. So
okay.
Yeah, so I actually was super involved in music in high school, and like, you know, music actually came before engineering. Like, it came before engineering, and my family's been super involved in it, and it's really my way of connecting back with my culture and everything, because my parents are also immigrants, and like, you know, the Indian community in Detroit is like extremely connected, and so I was really like involved in that throughout my life. And so coming to college was a huge shift for me, because I mean, suddenly my high school was like, most of us were, it was a very, very diverse population. But when I came to Michigan, it was not like that at all. And that's definitely nothing on the school. That's something that's common across universities, like in the United States. And so it was interesting for me to figure out, like, how am I going to connect back with my culture? because most of the people that I talked to didn't really have like that kind of a, you know, side passion that they were really passionate about, like this one other thing that's outside of engineering. And, you know, I've even been told, like, today actually I was told that, like, you know, you should really just pursue engineering, like forget about music, because you'd be a really, really good engineer. But I don't know, I can't do that, because it's like, it's a part of my identity, and like that's who I am. And so that challenge is something that I faced last year, and I am right now working to kind of figure out that balance.
Yeah, I totally get that. I feel like I'm constantly living a double life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, same. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm either like in engineering or I'm kayaking, and it's two completely different fields.
Exactly, right. Yeah.
Yeah, and they can't really relate. I mean, fluid dynamics, sure, but no one on the river is going to talk to me about the physics behind the water. So I totally get that, but I think it's also really important because, I mean, first, like it's really important to diversify our interests, and also, like, I don't know, maybe it's like sort of a safety net for me, but I think it's also not just a safety net, but also like it helps you explore like your different, I don't know, like sides of you. I don't know. And also,
no, I get,
yeah. And also,
like my creative side versus like, or just anything. Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, and also it will definitely end up tying in together. Like maybe one day you make some sort of autonomous electrical guitar car. Yeah. That is powered by the power of rock and roll. Like, who knows? Right? Yeah, sure. You're totally into that idea. I can tell.
I love it.
No, but yeah, I think it's definitely a challenge to figure it out, but I think it's also really important to figure it out. And then once you do figure it out, it's really just a balance of like figuring out your priorities. And sometimes I would get lost in being like, school's my priority, school's my priority, school's my priority, which obviously in your bachelor's is true. But then you start getting in this habit of putting the other things as not a priority. And then when you're done with school, I kept doing that. I kept being like, oh, my...
Yeah. You're so used to it. Yeah. No.
Yeah, exactly. And so for me, the biggest thing was also like learning to set my priorities equal. So it's like my kayaking and my engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my other question for you is, what is the best advice you've ever gotten? Have you gotten any really good advice?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So the same professor I was talking about earlier, he gave me a really, really good piece of advice. And so he told me that, I asked him that, okay, if there's one piece of advice that you would want to give an engineer, like, what would it be? And so he sat there and he thought for a while, and I said, I'm sorry if this is a very difficult question. And he's like, no, I have the perfect answer for this. And so he told me that when you're an engineer, or when you're an electrical engineer specifically, or anything related to hardware, don't think narrowly, if that makes any sense. So any problem that you come across in engineering is not just a hardware problem or a software problem, it's just a problem. So you have to use tools in engineering, or hardware and software, to figure out what's going on. So, like, for example, there is this whole situation that I got thrown into in my internship where one of the big three, I'm not going to give too much information about it because it's confidential, obviously.
Yeah.
One of the big three came back to us, came back to LG Chem and said that these fans in our battery pack don't work. And so that involved like 5 different companies. And so in solving problems like that, like, you have to think outside. You have to think about every possible solution that you could use to solve that problem. Not just like, oh, it's a hardware problem. There's a problem with this like solder joint or something, so we have to fix that. Like, it could be anything. So you have to keep your mind, be open-minded to solve these kinds of problems. So yeah.
So how do you practice that? Like, when you approach a problem, how do you sort of make yourself think outside of the box and not just look at it as this is a hardware problem?
Yeah, so I didn't really when he gave that piece of advice to me, I didn't really understand what he meant.
Okay.
But I guess like going through a design cycle in my design team and then coming back, going through my internship and like coming back, like it all circled back around, and I kind of understand like, you know, when you have issues with a big battery pack or a really, really big system, it's really hard to break it down as like this piece of hardware, this piece of hardware, this piece of hardware, and like separate them out like that. You then have to like, instead of, you know, thinking about them as subsystems, you now have to think about it as a whole system. So meaning like you have like your hardware platform where your software is like on there, and like the software controls everything, right? And so you kind of have to think about it as a whole system, not just like separate components.
Okay.
I don't know if that answered your question.
No, it does. It does. Do you think maybe like, so having this other passion, like we just talked about, like music, helps you with that, thinking of like now you have this other insight of a whole different world? Do you think it sort of helps you with your creative solving, like problem solution process, or am I just out to lunch?
I'm yet to figure that out, actually. I think it does. Like last week, actually, I went to the Maker Faire in Detroit. Or not, I think it was in Dearborn. Yeah. So I went to the Maker Faire in the Ford plant area, and like, I don't know, all of the things they came up with were all like super creative. And so they're all people that started out as like musicians or something, and then they went into engineering and they created this really, really cool thing. So I don't know. I don't know yet. So
okay, yeah, that's fine. And so someone here wants to know, what is your favorite course?
Okay. If I think about my freshman year, my favorite course was this is gonna sound terrible. My favorite course was Calc 2.
Okay.
It was a very, very difficult class. But my graduate student instructor was like extremely helpful, and like I went to office hours every week and everything, and I don't know, I really liked the material in that class too. So he was really helpful, and the material was fun, and like I don't know, I liked that class a lot.
Yeah, I remember Calc 2. I remember our final was a multiple choice exam. Can you even imagine? Multiple choice integrals, yeah. Maggie Hernandez says, I'm a junior in high school right now, and I'm interested in doing STEM, but it's very competitive in California. Are there any classes I should take that could make me more competitive? And also, does it matter if it's a higher tier school to study engineering? For example, UCs over CSUs. I don't know what those two mean. Do you know what they mean?
So the UCs, I know it's like the University of California, so like UC Berkeley and UCLA. Oh, I dropped it again. All right. Well, this cable is coming in the way. Let me just. There you go. Okay. I don't know exactly.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. Well, I definitely think like studying at a good institution is important if you're able to like study at a really good engineering institution, because you'll have access to really good professors, and you know, I think it'll help because like the competition at universities, it's much higher in university than it is in high school for sure, because then you're faced with like there's so many engineering students, there's so many students that like, you know, it's really competitive, but you also can't compete with them just because the fact that there are so many students. And so you're always constantly surrounded by like really, really good students, and I think that is like a good influence to have.
Okay. And what about, are there any classes she should take to make herself more competitive for the application? Yeah.
So if she can take a coding class, if it's available in her high school, she definitely should. Or even like learning it over the summer like I did.
Yeah.
Or, you know, just getting involved in some sort of program with coding, or like maybe even you can do like a university course over the summer, or like some university program. I know there are a lot of high school students in my area, and they go to U of M for like over the summer, and they're in high school and they just go there and do like a program. for like a week or something. So that could be an option. Take physics, take chemistry, take your really hard STEM classes in high school, because I guarantee it'll help a lot in college.
Yeah, for sure. I think also those classes, they're necessary, are they not, or no?
Yeah, so actually I don't have to take any more physics classes. Like, I finished my physics credits before college.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Saving myself some trouble.
So someone else asks, oh, I don't know if you can answer this question. So Karthik Rocks asked this question 3 times, but I don't know if you can answer it because it's relating to masters. But I can ask it to you anyway, and if you don't know the answer, it's fine. He wrote, what are some electrical classes, mechanical engineering classes should they take to pursue masters in mechatronics, robotics, control systems?
I have no idea how to answer this question.
Yeah, me neither. I think the best thing is just to take, because in university you can actually take like control systems, robotics, programming, mechatronics classes. So I think just any, like when you're in school, you'll be able to see which of those classes apply to mechatronics and biomedical classes. But I think the biggest one is like control systems, maybe, and
there's
programming.
Also embedded control systems. Embedded control systems is a good course too. Mm-hmm. I recommend taking it. I haven't taken it, of course, but I've heard good things about it.
Okay. And so some questions to wrap it up. Oh, do you have something cool to show me?
Yeah, sure. We talked a lot about this over the chat, but I decided to go for my lame option. Everyone is going to think I'm like the lamest person on the internet right now.
No.
There is this board that I recently purchased, and I'm learning a lot about, so there's this concept in automotive engineering called controller area network. And basically what it is like when you have different subsystems of your vehicle communicating with each other, that's happening over a network called controller area network, or a CAN. So I'm learning right now about CAN by sending signals to this prototype board. And it uses an AT90 CAN 128 microcontroller. And there's like a software that you can use called Atmel Studio and like control it and stuff with code. And I don't know, it's cool. I'm getting some embedded software experience with just this little thing.
And so this would go into a car, like into...
Well, yeah, it could have different applications. Like this, I was going to use last year on their steering wheel for our design team. And it would be used for like the circuit board and the steering wheel to get like inputs from the buttons, and then that would go to the main computer of the car. So yeah, I guess it could be used in that sense.
Okay.
Probably not in like I don't know if it would be used in like the power system at all, but it could definitely be used in like the user area, like more of the infotainment system stuff.
Well, props to you. That's like really cool. You just like went online and bought the thing, and now you're just doing tons of research about it and like looking how or did you do you sort of have like a list of different pieces of electronics that you're like, oh, I kind of want to learn about this, and then I kind of want to learn about this? Or
I think I'm just doing it as I go, honestly. Cool. This I heard about through my design team, so I was like, I want to learn about it.
And so what sources? Oh, sorry, I cut you off.
No, yeah. So basically, like, most of my experience is in powertrain and like more of the hardware stuff. So I wanted to get some experience in software in auto before I like try research elsewhere. So I got this board, and that was really my way of doing it. Okay,
and so what is your what resources do you use to learn about them? Is it mostly just like Wikipedia or like websites, like are there specific websites that you go on online, or do you just sort of just do a general Google, throw the net into the Google search bar?
Yeah, so honestly, I think half of the stuff that I learned is off of Google. So I have like times in the day where I'm like sitting here and I start Googling things because I'm curious to know like why does this work the way it does, or like what does this concept mean. But I think some good specific websites to look at are SparkFun, Adafruit. All About Circuits is really good. DigiKey, I think they have some stuff, but you can purchase stuff on DigiKey. That's how I got this board. I got it on DigiKey. Yeah, so.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for showing us that. And last thing is, what would you say to someone that wants to pursue electrical engineering or automotive or hardware systems? Like, what is if you could give advice to someone that says, I really want to pursue this, what would you tell them, like, as your number one, like, one thing that you could tell them?
Okay, so I think the number one thing, and I'm probably echoing that professor, but don't be narrow in how you're solving engineering problems, or don't be narrow about how you focus your time when you're pursuing engineering in general, but, you know, electrical engineering and automotive engineering, because there are so many different parts of like your system, and it's important to understand how the software works, how the hardware works, how like the electrical stuff works, and then how like the mechanical design of the vehicle and everything. And that, I think that will really make you a seasoned engineer more than anything, because then that enables you to kind of, if you ever want to go out and like start your own business on your own, I think being like a good systems engineer will help you do everything from like the top down and understand like, okay, how does this vehicle work? Or like, how does my system work? So yeah, systems, I think, have a really strong focus on systems engineering and get as much out of everything as you can get.
Okay. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me and everyone. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm so glad I got to meet you.
Well, I'm just going to stop the live stream and then we can keep chatting. Sorry, everyone.
Okay.
So bye, everyone. Thank you so much for listening.
Bye.